Hey everybody, Arma here, Chi Skills. Welcome to the podcast. And today we're talking about letting go.
And the art of letting go.
Absolutely, because it's an art,
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh, yeah. And we're holding on to so many things as a person. And the the first thing that we need to do to be able to let go is to be aware of what we're holding on to.
Absolutely. So it needs some waking up at a certain level to see that it's us that's holding on to something,
Yeah.
which causes a lot of emotional things and also maybe actions that are not serving us at all. I mean, for myself, I had to go pretty far to wake up, actually. So, and I see it with our students as well,
Yeah.
right? So,
I think before you start to be aware of it, you need to have some pain or something that really doesn't work, you know.
Yeah, or maybe see patterns where you
Yeah.
keep hitting your head
Yeah.
against the same thing, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I have to force it,
Yeah.
and it's just not working. And you get tired, and then you start to let go. Getting tired is a good thing sometimes. It's just
Yeah.
like, oh man, I cannot do this anymore. I need to change.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing. You wake up to the idea that you have to change. And you know, when people come to us, they cannot really expect yet what it's going to be, right? They maybe have gone on the internet or bought a book or got a book from a friend or whatever, and they start reading about internal training, and they're like, oh, maybe there's something in that for me. At least because they're realizing it's themselves that has to change, right? It's a path
Yeah.
going inward.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
there is that's the thing as well, that when we think something goes wrong, we have a tendency to look on the outside. Like, oh, there are all these reasons from some friend is doing this and
Family
a
that,
family is
my
doing
boss
that,
is doing
and
that,
and the weather is bad, and the
yeah.
dog just woke up in the middle of the night, and so these
Now you're talking about experience, right?
so all these things, they have an impact. But
Yeah.
the thing that you have the biggest impact on is yourself.
Well, you know, we have to understand that it's our own reactivity towards these situations that is causing the problem.
Yeah.
Wanting, you know, circumstance to be different than it is causes this tension, this contraction. That's, you know, on every level is holding on, is stagnation, right? But it's not only the outside thing. I mean, on a more subconscious level, we're also having a lot of judgment towards ourselves.
Absolutely.
You know, that's what I see a lot with people, is that so they think they're fighting with the outside, but they're actually fighting with themselves. Yeah. And this is not, how you say, this is not something that people, you know, can help really. It's so ingrained in our upbringing, and you know, it's the way we sort of learn how to deal with things. You know, I remember we had a session recently, right, with our online group, and I just said, like, you know, I mean, we learn real. I don't want to, you know, well, you know, in school you learn a lot of things that are helpful, right? But you don't really learn anything about yourself. About how to deal with yourself, which is actually the most important skill you can learn here, right? Because I think if you want to be successful in the outside world, it has to align with your own success. And then you can also determine what is actually success. Yeah. But you have to move beyond your own conditioning and your own patterns.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also start... Sorry, I said start. I mean, stop fighting with yourself.
Yeah.
Learn how to stop fighting with yourself,
Yeah.
and accept this part of you as being you know, change can happen when we stop judging ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, of course you have to be very aware of all these patterns in you, but we don't want to judge ourselves for it,
Yeah.
because it's all second, third, fourth hand what we're dealing with. Right?
But then you're already one step further. I mean, we have. I always love teaching about 5 elements, because then you start to see all these patterns.
Yeah.
You start to see patterns, and you see that on a physical level, emotional level, a spiritual level, and you go through the elements, and people are like, ah.
Now I see it.
I see. Now I see that my emotional response, or it's coming from somewhere. And then on the same level, I also have all these physical
Well, yeah, results, stagnations, or yeah.
And so it all works together. And now I see that I cannot, I cannot get any further because I'm holding myself back.
Yeah.
And I have all these patterns that holding me in place.
Exactly. So you could say there's sort of because of course the 5 elements, you see this cause and effect cycle, of course. Like you can see the process of everything, I guess, right? It's an amazing model for that. But you can actually see where the creation cycle starts, right? You can and with creation, I mean, is like you can see the cause of an effect of where you start to hold on and then create from there.
Yeah.
And then you can also see it's like, okay, but if we start balancing out and we start with, looking inside, we can actually go to more of a destructive cycle, which isn't negative in this case. I mean, of course, the word destruction, okay. But in this case, it means that we're sort of, we're turning it around.
Yeah.
So this creation might be is like, okay, something happens to you, or there's something happens and you start touching it. And from there, this emotional response comes to it. And I'm sure if you were listening to this, you will recognize that some of these patterns that just keep returning in your life in certain situations. But that's just happening because there's this subconscious reaction that just happens before you know it. And then you're in the same thing and you're like, man, I want to change it. But you cannot really touch it yet. And that's why these 5 elements and other models, of course, as well. But this 5 elements is so clear because it doesn't overlook anything.
No.
You can see everything, right? And the art of letting go is actually one of the pillars, right? And it's connected very much to metal element.
So before being able to be reborn, you need to let go. So that's that's metal. So that's just a beautiful model. But it's I think that's in life we have when we're born, we inherit so many things from our parents, and what I always love to see, but when people talk about what they eat, what they drink, how their lifestyle is, it's very based upon what we learn from a young age.
Yeah.
So, and we inherit the patterns from our parents, from our teachers, from all these people around us. But what we also inherit is their lifestyle.
Yeah.
How they look at life.
Yeah.
How they think you should live your life.
Absolutely.
And so we get in the same patterns emotionally and spiritually. And unless you're at a certain point, are very aware of this, you start doing this. And this is as simple as when you're, in Holland, for example, when you're about what age? 12, you start to get some coffee as a child. I don't know, but that
depends a little bit in your household, but you know that's when that stuff comes in.
I hated coffee, so I still don't drink it, and I don't like it. But what you see in my surroundings as a child, you would be presented and we would drink it every morning, every evening, and you would get a cup of coffee. But what does it do? It creates unrest.
Yeah.
It creates unrest and it creates noise in the head.
Well, at the moment, you drink it, it's a ritual that's all about soothing, I
Yeah.
guess. You know, it's a soothing ritual. And this is just one example, but there's so
Yeah.
many,
Yeah.
right?
I just wanted to take that out
Yeah.
because it's something that we see that a lot of people do, and it's from, well, here from an early age, and you just go into it and you don't realize that what effect it has.
True.
And what kind of somebody needs to really show you that this has such a big effect.
Yeah.
But then the hard part, because it's so ingrained and so part of your daily ritual, now you have to take it out of your daily ritual. And there are so many things that are kind of, you have this emotional kind of bond with your ritual,
Yeah, sure.
that it's kind of hard to let go because it stands for so much more.
Oh man,
Yeah.
but it's all on this unconscious level, but I think the word soothing
Yeah.
is in place. I think most bad habits. I'm not sure if it's a bad habit. It becomes a bad habit if it's not serving you,
Yeah.
right? But you have to wake up to the fact that it's not serving you.
Yeah.
And when do you wake up?
Yeah.
To the point that it's not serving you, because until that point it's sort of serving you,
Yeah.
but it's serving you not on a high level.
Yeah.
It's serving you on a lower level, right?
Yeah.
So if people come in and they come into the training, I think one of the many things I hear is that I need peace of mind. I need to get out of my head. I need to feel and reconnect with my body again, etc., etc., etc. And I think a lot of the bad things we're doing actually are distracting from that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's more about, I mean, a lot of these rituals are social rituals as well. So we do them
Absolutely.
together so we can have this soothing feeling
Yeah.
together. But when we come together, most of what we eat and drink is very bad stuff. It's just very, very bad, right?
Yeah.
So, and of course, a little bit every now and then. I'm no saint, right? But I came to the conclusion at a certain point, it's not only not serving me, it's adding to my unrest. It's
Yeah.
adding to my low self-esteem. It's
Yeah.
adding to whatever, my disbalances and everything.
Yeah.
So, that's so important that when you wake up, then now you have a chance to turn these things around and become really, I mean, with every day you become more conscious of your own patterns, and then you have the chance to change them
Yeah.
for the better.
And I think and in our course we see it as well. The biggest impact is to take out something.
Yeah.
It's not adding, but it's to take out of your pattern. It's to, okay, just say you stop drinking, and I take the coffee because it has such a big impact. And it's so difficult for
All the
most
coffee
people.
lovers are gone
Yeah.
by now.
Yeah.
They're not listening anymore. They're gone.
But there are different examples as well. But you see, when you take it out, when you take the very drying and heating stuff out of your diet, that has a big impact.
You can see the change with the people. It's 1 week and then the second week, and you see them. Their whole energy shifts.
Yeah. And then taking out is the first thing that I do with all my students. It's to take out something out of your diet and do that for at least 21 days and then see what it does. And most people don't want to get back.
You know what I think is true power is that you have a choice.
That's it.
It's not about good or bad here. We don't want to make it dualistic. There's nothing wrong with coffee per se.
No.
There's, it's all about having a choice, and I think that's just that's what the true power lies. Is that.
And another thing, and that was knowing the connection. So now you know. I have a choice.
You see the cause and effect.
You see the cause and effect. So if I take food for an example, but there are so many more different, more examples, is if I drink wine, now, well, most people know it. When I drink wine, now I feel a certain way the next morning.
Yeah, for sure.
Do I want to feel this way?
Yeah,
Or do I not want to feel this way? Okay, well, if I'm with friends, I having a good time, okay, that's it.
that's it.
Then I'm gonna do it. But now I made a conscious decision.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, this letting go process. Of course, we're in a sort of in a corner of the room where we're
Yeah.
now, right? But it's all corners of the room actually,
Yeah.
right? So this mental, emotional, and physical connection. There's so many entries in it, and we don't want to pass over anything.
No.
So,
No.
when we start teaching people, you have to break it down to the most physical plateau first, right? You have to really go to the place where, the body, just the physical body, is a great entry into letting go on these levels as well, right? So, if we're looking at holding on, I mean, the mental, emotional, physical. If you go to the physical body and you start stretching, which is one of the first things we're doing here, right, in this training, stretching, activating fascia, etc. Now we're creating space in the system.
Yeah.
Now we can create movement in the system.
Yeah.
Now there's, and so the first entry, the first door, really is that, I guess, right? Is the physical thing, and of course, the vital energy as well.
Yeah.
That's all connected on that same level. So when we're looking at optimizing this energy, we look at all these aspects, right? We're looking at, so what do you take in?
Yeah.
What can we release, right? Because if you start looking at what you take in before you take it in, you don't have to let go of it anymore.
Oh, and that's,
right?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah. So there's different ways to approach this, right? I mean, of course, we've got these exercises, but what? It's not only about letting go, but it's also what not to let in.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it's good that you said that, because the first thing I said, I'm always looking with students what they can let go. But the first exercise, and I've mentioned this many times, is their journal.
Yeah.
So before letting go of anything, you're writing a journal. So you get aware of what you're doing and what kind of effect it has on your system.
And this brings us back to the judgment part again.
Yeah.
We want to do this without judgment, because the judgment itself is the trigger to hold on.
Yeah, yeah. Because now you're
exactly
kind of, putting emotion on it. And so you kind of, and that's what the stretching helps with. You create space. So that's why we work together and why it works so really good.
It's all interrelated with each other. So the art of letting go as a topic for a podcast is not an easy one, because it's so in everything. Yeah. Right. But I'm sure I can imagine we're making a part 2, 3, and 4 about this. But I think for this one, we have to understand that there needs to be a waking up moment, and from there we dive in without judgment and just look at ourselves like, okay, what are these behaviors, patterns, and stuff like that, and starting creating space.
Yeah.
On any level, right? Physical, energetically, mentally, creating flow and making sure it can go somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you kind of by knowing there's the biggest effect. If you go do the stretching, if you know what kind of food has the biggest impact on you, so you can let that go. That really helps to get results, and that will make you more motivated to look further. Because you kind of need your energy to go further and further.
Of course, well, it's on the foundation of the pyramid, really, is building strong vital energy, because that's going to help you to let go.
Absolutely. if you're very, if you're burned out and just laying around, it's very hard to get into action.
Absolutely. That's why we're doing all these mental trainings as
Yeah.
well, right? We have to learn how to concentrate, but your concentration is dependent on your energy level. We all understand this, right? But it's also your mindfulness level on every aspect, is that you are able to observe yourself and take note, as you say, right? So journal not only the food intake, but also, okay, so how do I feel today? And how do I feel compared to yesterday?
Yeah.
What's the change? What did I eat? How did I do this? Did I do that? How did I respond to situations? What was the situation yesterday that caused my level of concentration or vitality to go down, but also maybe the negativity to go up, right? And so the whole thing of the training is that we can change that through mindfulness. Really, it starts with mindfulness.
Yeah, absolutely. And then again, we're getting full circle. You can make choices.
Then you can make choices.
Oh, do I want to be in that kind of situation?
Yeah.
Am I just going what do I want for myself?
Exactly.
What can I do to make me feel the best that I can?
Absolutely, and that's a challenge for everyone. You know, the challenge is that we're part of a social structure.
Yeah.
Right, and this social structure is not necessarily going that way. Not as a whole, right? Yeah. I'm not talking about individuals, but how it moves as a collective, you could say, is not going that direction at all. So for people to take themselves out of there and say, okay, I'm not going that direction anymore. I want to change that. There's also a letting go there, which is that's sometimes pretty hard for people. Until you find is that when you start feeling better and you move more and more into your own true power, is that you can have a lot of influence on these people as well. Because some people will realize like, there's something with you at this, there's something different. And because I think most people are searching for something, some are more aware and awake than others, but
And I don't want to bring it back to coffee again, but this was such a beautiful story about one of her students, and she said she stopped drinking coffee for 21 days, or that was her challenge, and then she actually told her colleagues at work that she stopped drinking coffee, and so that she wasn't
doing that anymore.
That. And then she told us, one of her colleagues went really angry with her.
Yeah, she was like, it's not about the coffee, blah, 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 blah.
And so there was a lot of resistance from her colleague. And she was just like, well, it's just my decision.
It's only coffee.
It's only coffee. So
but you can see the emotional...
there was such an emotional response.
Addictive response to it as well.
Yeah. And so after a couple of days, she said that her colleague came over and that she said, and this is beautiful, that she said, I stopped drinking coffee as well.
It's amazing, right?
So,
Oh, wow. I mean, this is profound, but it's so profound. I realize at this moment that this person, what you see happening, of course, is first there's this emotional, well, you could say ego response towards change, right? And there's something in us that actually wants to push itself the way that's not good for us. Yeah. Why? Because it's a social pressure there. There's this... So this is such a strong thing. When she sees someone who she trusts, I guess, who she knows as a colleague, and she sees, now she maybe has this how you say, almost like... she's allowing herself to do it, right? I mean, I think that's the good word for it. It's almost like she's got the permission almost, the social permission to make that change, because something inside her already felt is like, this is not serving me at all, probably. And it's becoming an addiction, and it's gonna... So and there's of course many examples of this, but
Oh.
this is a great example.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I loved it when she told it. And so what you see is when you let go of things, and
Yeah.
it can be emotional things in your family,
Anything.
it can be anything, that you see that first of all, you probably get resistance towards you
Yeah.
because you're doing something that is going against the social structure.
Yeah.
But then people who are a little bit awake, they start to kind of look at you and say,
Yeah.
now there's something happening.
Exactly. They get inspired and they're like, ooh, okay.
And maybe there's another way. Maybe there's another way. And so they get aware. And then they also have an opportunity to change.
Oh, and that's
And
so
let
huge.
go.
That's so huge because you can now see is that that person is doing that as well. How is she inspiring her environment,
Yeah.
right? So this spreading of awareness, it takes some people with guts,
Yeah.
really, to make the change and letting go of things.
Yeah.
It's so weird that we have this response to health, right? We have a negative response to health almost, and it's crazy. It's so self-destructive in a sense. But when you start making the change, it's incredible. It's just incredible. Wow.
Wow, that was great.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, this is just we've touched on some corner of this thing, and I'm sure we'll be talking about letting go in many more podcasts. But
Different ways. Yeah. That was nice.
yeah. So no judgment here, no
Absolutely.
judgment towards yourself, and beautiful.
Nice. Well, hope that was helpful.
Yeah, and if you liked it, like and subscribe, and we'll be back for more, for sure.
Bye.
Bye.